How do I convince a guy from work that the ghost of his ex-girlfriend is following him, has messages for him, and also convince him that I'm not a kook? The hardest part of seeing the dead isn't the fear. I'm not afraid of ghosts. I've seen them all my life. It's sitting across from someone and pretending you don't see somebody hovering over their shoulder. The first time I saw him, I didn't see a ghost, just an ordinary man out of the corner of my eye, until I saw something else. His aura. It was a deep blue, a deep, calm blue, the kind that tells you that somebody's been carrying a lot. I didn't speak to him that day. I just kind of noticed him, and then he was gone. A whole month passed. I didn't really think much of it until I ran into him again while I was leaving work. I was having a panic attack, and I ran straight into him. And this time it really felt different. It felt like the universe had been waiting for the right moment to introduce us properly. He said, "Come see me when you return." And so a few days later, when I got back to work, when I was feeling better, we started talking, and I felt comfortable enough to tell him about Jean, the ghost who shared the home that I was in at the time, the spirit I talk about on my other channel, and I just expected him to laugh it off. But he didn't. He got very still, and he asked me a question that stopped me cold. "Do you see anyone around me?" So I looked, and I was honest. "No, not yet," I said, but the way he asked told me that he was hoping for an answer that he wasn't quite ready to hear. Well, 3 days later, she appeared. I wasn't searching for her, but there she was, a woman standing close to him, the way that you stand near someone that you deeply love. And then she followed him back to his office. I didn't know who she was yet, but I knew that she had something to say. At lunch, I told him what I saw. He went quiet for a long time. And then he told me the truth that he had been carrying alone, that she had taken her life just 3 months before I saw him the first time at work. Only 3 months. So that deep blue aura suddenly made complete sense to me. It wasn't calm, it was grieving, deeply, privately, and silently. Then she came to my house, not to frighten me and not to linger. She came with a purpose. She came with messages for him, the kind of messages that she could only send, that he would understand. The kind that told me she hadn't left because she wanted to. She left because she was in pain. And even from the other side, her love for him hadn't gone anywhere. And here's an interesting fact. A month later, while we were working on a project in his apartment, I saw her standing in the doorway to his room. The room went cold. I just felt it come over me. And I said, "She's here now, hun." And he didn't believe me, of course, which prompted her reaction. She was going to show him proof. She wanted him to believe. So I watched as she walked from the room into the kitchen, opened a cabinet door, pulled out a pan and dropped it. The pan made a crash as it hit the floor, and I told him, "Look, she did that." He went white, but he was still very skeptical. So this is why I do what I do, not for chills and not for mystery, but for moments like this where grief and love and unfinished business and soul collide. He asked me if I saw someone around him, and I think part of him already knew. And, she led me to him long before either of us understood why. Fast forward 8 months later, after the messages had been delivered and tears shed, it came time for her celebration of life. I wanted to go to this because she had shared secrets with me, and I felt as though I was losing a friend as well. Unable to go, though, she directed me to her gravesite. A week later, I found exactly where she had shown me that she was. Her family was Jewish, so following Jewish traditions, I laid a dime on her headstone and said goodbye. I watched her cross over at that moment with peace and contentment. I truly believe that she brought us together. He was a lonely and grieving person, and I was in a terrible situation with my home life with an abusive ex-husband. He was my husband at the time. But, she just knew that we needed to find each other. And, I'm still friends with him today, 14 years later. It's been a long haul. So if this story touches you and moves you, I plan on doing more content like this. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if you've had experiences with spirits and ghosts. I'd love to read your comments. And like and subscribe to this channel. Help keep the content growing. And please buy the Cat Counselor treat if you feel so inclined. I'll be back again soon. Bye.